until minute 19, and then right at the end I say, but the pancakes, and it goes back all the way through everything, and it's like, wow, the setup was totally worth it. But I never know if I have enough time for those things, and I don't think anybody wants to find out.
Well, I mean, as soon as you said but the pancakes, the game came up, so I guess it worked out in this case.
All I'm trying to say is sometimes you got it, sometimes you don't. I think we know what time this is. So.
Towers of Doom, that's what time it is.
It is indeed, Wolf. We got bans on Volskaya and Braxis, so not going to be having either one of those, and I think those do make sense. Those are very underrepresented this part just because they have been banned so many times.
Well, this ends up being the map pick of Ballistix, meaning that Gen.G has chosen first ban from coin toss. So that will be how this works out. And I want to talk about something real quick before we go into this. I've talked about this a lot this phase, but SC is, I think, one of the big weaknesses of Ballistix in terms of hero pool right now, and one of the reasons why they failed so much in the mid-season brawl. And there's only so many DPSs available. Both of these Overwatch heroes that have just been banned out are two of his favorites. Now, with 3 bans, it becomes even easier to limit what he's capable of, what heroes he can play. So that's where I think Ballistix is going to struggle, because if you compare him to Rich's hero pool is much larger. In fact, this season, Rich has played 9 different heroes. SC has played 5. So nearly double the hero pool in terms of the ranged DPSs on this squad.
If I remember the stats correctly, Ballistix actually has the smallest hero pool,
yes.
The smallest number of heroes played out of any team in HGC Korea, with almost, I think it's just around 20. So it's very, very narrow, the heroes that they play. And for a while, you could blame that on the meta. Things just didn't really change a whole lot.
Yeah, that's true. Like, a lot of the time, we had the perma Gen.G bans, and then it was Tracer and Hanzo. And Hanzo is obviously the hero that SC made a big name for himself on here in 2018. He's been nerfed so many times, it doesn't always fit the map. He used to be great on every map. Now he's great on a few of the maps. He could be played on any map, but is he high priority? No, but if you don't prioritize him, and then look at all the DPS bans. We already have 3 DPS bans here. You've got to pick something up. Raynor is a hero that suits SC's play style, and he will be picked, but at the highest level of play right now, this is very different from our previous series, at the highest level of play, Raynor has a very low win rate when picked this early in draft. And he was sitting at like 25% yesterday. I'd have to do a little bit of brief math to see how he did in our previous series. Looks like he went 2-1 in our previous series, but it's not high, right? It's not a good look to pick Raynor this early. Gen.G already learned this in their series against Miracle, experimented with some other things as well in that series, but Muradin and Li Ming coming in here, locking in the tank line. They've got good poke, delayed tributes, but the draft of Gen.G is now much more flexible than Ballistix. Ballistix locked in their DPSs right away, and now everything that Gen.G wants to do to counter it is super easy. Karazim bans Intelligent because you've taken away that extra damage for Sake to finish off Raynor when he's low on health, get in the backline, get that kill. His favorite support, no longer available.
A Blaze ban here means we're not going to see any of that Blaze Anubarak combo that we've been seeing so popularly lately. Specifically Anubarak, very, very high win percentage. Could still be locked in here for Ballistix, but I don't know exactly how they're going to solve the problem of how to protect a squishy backline, especially against a team like Gen.G, who are just so good at putting pressure, limiting the effectiveness of a hero like Raynor. There's the Zeratul for the 2nd time today.
That's right, and last time it was with a Raynor as well, with Malfurion, but it was a very different draft. Rhaegar's going to come through here with Thrall.
Yeah, Rhaegar Thrall. This is very similar to what Gen.G did in their game versus Tempest.
That's right. This can be a Bloodlust comp, but I think with Li Ming being the primary source of range damage, it's almost certainly going to be Thrall. Just becomes a little bit tankier with the potential of Ancestral behind him. Yrel in that top lane matchup against very likely to be the Zeratul. I mean, almost certainly. You can't not have a tank in this composition. It's going to be a nice matchup there for them. I like how Gen.G drafted this. I feel that Ballistix felt like they were going to get DPS choked because of SC's hero pool problem, and here we are. They picked Maiev, Raynor early, and there's not a lot of pairing with this. Void can be used on top of it. There's ways you can lock people into Lightning Breath to get the extra damage from Ace in the hole. from Raynor, which, you know, that's like the most realistic way you're going to actually get that
Oh, yeah.
passive.
I mean, the same idea if you were pairing Diablo with like a Phoenix, right?
Exactly. Or even a not a Urel, a Lunara, which has been like a recent thing, a little bit in Korea. But
Yeah, we had
I look at this Rapid, I look at Gen.G's comp, and it looks like it's really well rounded. It's good for the map. It's got good poke. It has the Li Ming. It has safety, disengage, initiation. I look at Ballistix comp, and I say the draft's not bad. It gives your players heroes they can play. It's a fairly well-rounded composition, but the way it was built means that there's always an odd piece out when you try to piece together what the comp is trying to do. When you try to talk about the Diablo pairing with SC for extra damage with SDE, Zeratul doesn't have any piece in that. His Void doesn't work with that. You look at Malfurion and you're like, oh, okay, Malfurion plus Zeratul, but Zeratul's got a low health pool, so it's tough to make that work.
Yeah.
And then your Zeratul's going to get caught by Sundering sometimes. It's going to get caught by Stormbolt. It's going to be very difficult.
And, you know, there is that playmaking potential that Ballistix do have, whether it's with Cage and a VP in the middle, or even if you go Disc, then you can Disc VP, and just so much is locked out that it limits the threats that Raynor has to deal with and opens up the ability for him to burst somebody down. But let's see how this early part of the game is actually about to start. It's Jung-Ah that gets in there with the first blood for Ballistix.
We have to talk about this because I know a lot of people heard how hyped this series is that tuned in that may not know the history of these two teams, or maybe they've been watching very recently, but Jung-Ah was one of the best Zeratul players in the world. He's shown it. I think he's had the best international event Zeratul performance we've ever had. BlizzCon 2016. We saw crazy plays from him. You could probably find those on YouTube. The guy is absolutely a monster on this hero. It's a bad soloing matchup into Urel, but so is everything, so that's not really, you know, something I want to focus too much on. And with the changes to turrets, when you lose a soloing this large, it doesn't matter that much because you're not losing ammo. But I digress. The point is, he's a good Zeratul player. He can find these openings. He can find these kills. Gen.G is not able to respond. Ballistix gets the slightest of slight leads.
I mean, Zeratul is super mechanical, but almost reminds me of, like, you know, why CEOs are paid a lot of money. It's not because they have to do a ton of hard work. It's because they have to make one decision that matters just so much. And the placement of VP, especially in these later team fights that are to come, is kind of that idea. But now actually, oh, a huge pick there onto Hooligan. He gets popped, and that is a big pick for Gen.G.
Yeah, Gen.G getting this nice kill here. SC, no escape here. Tist slowing him. Sake comes in for that extra damage. He's going to go down here. That's another reset here for Reset. He's known for, and he doesn't have level 4 yet, so sticking around here perhaps not a bad idea, or not a good idea. If he had his level 4 where he gets, it's called Dominance, where he gets extra health, he might have been able to try to really shove that through with killing this wall like Tis just did. This is Gen.G in their purest form. Like, if you stand in the wrong place, you will die. I mean, Gen.G is, as a squad, so calculated, so deadly, so willing to push the envelope as to what heroes can do, like what they're capable of. It's insane. Things to touch on with the death there of the Diablo is that he didn't have a lot of health yet because he hasn't scaled up, and he lost the ability to build souls during that time. So he's not going to be as tanky. He's not going to reach his full stacks. Hooligan, of course, until a little bit later.
Diablo combo locking down Tis. He is very low, but tosses himself out to safety. I don't know how much CC he took, but not only did he get out alive, this Li Ming, we gotta talk about it. Reset is putting out so much damage, and he is one of the main sources of DPS. It's a requirement for Gen.G to do well, and they are living up to it.
Well, that trade gives, you know, Gen.G the 4 core health lead. They're able to take the neutral altar now, and, you know, this is a real treat. I mean, we're watching really technical play here. Tist escapes with low health, hits the healing well, but he's Murden, so he gets healed up so fast, come right back into the fight, so many cooldowns are wasted. That gives the opportunity to reset to do that damage. I mean, no offense to the teams we just watched, but this is night and day. Totally different series. Double stun here, rather double root.
And look at SC. He was almost being body blocked by his own team, Hooligan, stopping him from getting back in the back, but now he is back in the back and has a lot in front of him. So SC is just right-clicking away. He has a lot of CC to activate that extra damage, and Jung-Ah cashes in again. I guess we didn't see Raynor get the last hit, but still, that is what a great team fight looks like. Yeah. Ballistix.
Indeed. You know, they have the extra follow-up damage from the Zeratul, and like you said, it was actually Jung-Ah who made that play happen. SE kind of stole the kill. Not that it really matters in this MOBA because we don't have gold or anything like that. There's no like bonus to getting the last kill except your icon appears and the casters like someone has misinterpreted who got the kill. But in this case, you were on it, Reed. You were not fooled by the kill steal. But yeah, really scary comp for Ballistix because they have so much lockdown. And Rich needs to be careful about overextending on the thrall. Uh-oh,
Wait,
messed
what is
up the
that?
Avenging Wrath.
Yeah, there will be no vengeance for that Wrath. And I mean, you know, Yrel, by the way, right? So still an escape, but it was a little bit dicey there for a second.
Had to use Cleanse too before this fight. So 2 big wins here for Ballistix, forcing out a Healing Fountain, forcing out the Cleanse. And that's so important with a comp that has this CC here. Line up for Ace in the hole. SDE looking for wave clear. Need to be careful here. Rich, again, very far forward.
Oh, SDE, I'm so scared. That positioning. Just very, very careful, but this is a great setup for Ballistix. SC back in the back, doesn't want to walk too far forward. I think he might just have. Gets knocked back, but it's not a stun, not full charge.
Look at that SC damage on the Rainer. Like,
It's
what are you going
insane.
to do? It's insane, as you say. Another stun comes in here for Hooligan. They will get away for the time being.
Yeah, he doesn't get the overpower for the follow-up, which would have led to a kill most likely. So, you know, Ballistix just push Gen.G back, but for a few more seconds, they will still have the hero advantage. And the bigger thing is that they equalize health on the core.
Kocha just used Avenging Wrath. He needs to leave.
Yeah, I mean, he will get the exit out, but it's Ballistix dictating where Gen.G are allowed to go.
So, one of the things I want to point out for Yrel, one of the reasons why she's so scary is you'll notice in just a second here, if we see a follow-up, which we don't, Yrel has insta-mount and has movement speed from that. It'll be nerfed in most recent patch notes, but very, very terrifying when you're trying to chase her or kill her because she has so much self-sustain, especially with this build, where you have the auto attacks after abilities doing healing, and you could just press Z and then walk away from any melee hero. They can't chase you, they can't catch up on mounts. Very difficult to kill.
It's a crazy thing, right? Because when you think about you're designing a hero, and or you're just a person looking at a new hero's pool, it's hard to recognize which skills will be powerful and why.
Yeah.
And you might not look at that and say, oh, well, you know, you can just get on your horse really quickly and think, wow, that's going to be very impactful. But it just is the ability to reposition more quickly than just about anyone that doesn't have like a semi-global or something.
It also gives you the ability to chase as well.
Yep.
So it's a very, very powerful talent. Let's see if Rich can perform better on this Thrall. It's always been historically a weak hero for him. I know everyone's, I watched his stream and I saw him kill it, but in the pro scene, like when Thrall was very meta back in 2016, it was one of his weaknesses. 2015 as well, people say that's the reason why MVP Black did not go to 2015 BlizzCon is because he ran the Thrall in the grand finals. DK took it from them. Rich again almost gets caught, but he's turning into a bait.
Yeah, and this is going to turn it around. Look at that lightning breath. The follow-up from Ballistix is going to come through, hopefully in a big way. It actually doesn't, and Diablo winds up getting blown up along with Zeratul. So the turnaround is real here for Gen.G, but SE is still alive, and that means if you're at low health, you're going to have a problem if you try to overcommit.
So many players right now in Korea are using Thrall as an initiation hero, and how they do it is they have the rest of the team behind him. They toss out Spirit Wolf, look to that for initiation. If the Thrall gets caught, he sunders, you turn the fight. That's exactly what Rich did. SDE is going to get the vault away here. Hooligan's going to try to turn this, forcing out the Avatar, but he's caught. He's very, very low on health.
But he is just so tanky as Diablo there, so he does get back to the back. Now Rainer's Raider and Rainer himself are dishing out a ton of DPS.
Void
Rich
Prison
running away, and that Void Prism working very, very well to kind of zone Rich out and prevent the help from coming through. As soon as the VP is dead, or is gone, so is Gen.G. They evaporate one after another. Ballistix piling on.
Ballistix take 2 kills here. They take a massive lead now. 5-5 in the kill department, but they will get this altar. They are going to tie up the core health, but they might be able to get more. The later and later that we get into this game where we see small trade advantages go to one of these teams, the more damage you could do. And SC pops his Inspire here. He's going to knock down this wall. They're going to look to threaten this bell tower. The first team to get a bell tower is going to have a massive advantage. We saw that happen in our previous series, but the comeback happened at the highest level play. That's very rare.
And look at SC's positioning. So far back to the back, he's just in such a great place to deal a million damage. He's got the help of the lightning breath coming through as well. The Sunder is good, and the follow-up will be as well from Gen.G. Low health bars lead to deaths on Ballistix, but they're trading it right back.
Reset gets a kill, but does not have really a good target for the follow-up reset of cooldowns there. I hate it when he plays Li Ming. It makes the casting sound
I was going to say, he also does that just a lot, so not the most caster-friendly.
When he plays, the two heroes he pops off on most are Li Ming and Gen.G. Two heroes that have resets.
So if you have Gen.G playing Genji with reset, getting resets, it's like, okay, like we get it. You hate us.
I actually never asked him like if he chose it because of this, but like he chose his ID and was around in the scene before both of those heroes were released in the game. So I don't know where he got the nickname
That's
from.
clairvoyance.
But it just ended up, you know, sometimes people say that like if you have a name, like a kind of a strange name, it can change your personality. There's like been studies about that recently. I don't know if this is one of those cases, but the guy is good on these heroes that have resets. Ballistix takes the 13 talent tier advantage now. They have positional advantage on this altar as well. For the engage, Rich can flank. He can try to bait out a Sundering, or he can actually just look for the angle here. It's tough in the open space, though, to use yourself as a kind of a bait for this. A big find here. SDE though once more looking for the pull.
Going in, might get it onto Rich, but no, it expires. And look at Tist, he's diving the backline, but again, SCSE with perfect positioning. Can the front line survive long enough? A great 3-man VP in the back, so that will zone out and allow SCSE a lot of time, but it's just free deal. He's still in there, and a cage actually. Now the lightning breath coming through for all that bonus damage as well. Jong-ha going forward, he's looking for the assassination on a Tist, who is safe back in the back. No deaths just far as the fight that never ends.
Fight that never ends. Nobody dies. Really nice engagement for Ballistix, so they definitely traded up there. But we are going to see Li Ming have Wave of Force in just a second. That's why SD needs to stay mounted and get out of here. Otherwise, he might have found himself being caught into a chain of CCs. Really cool idea there with Rich, the Sundering into the double root, but it didn't matter because there was no follow-up damage. Double root goes down here. They're going to look for the kill onto Jung-ha. Tist wants to commit. Hooligan's also sandwiched in here. He can't get out. He's going to be able to just force his way out using his abilities here.
He's just so tanky and gigantic. I didn't catch what the soul count was, but he's got a lot of them. It's just a big bad Diablo up in the front. He's initiating again, this time on a Kyocha in the back line, with so many heals coming through, keep him totally healthy. The back line of Ballistix is actually kind of stunned, delayed there for a second with SC and Jong-ha zoned out, but I think Gen.G are in a much better position here.
Ballistix is winning out this heal sustain war with the Malfurion, though. They're able to heal so much more than Rhaegar can, even with the changes to his Q on the patch that we're playing right now. But they are eventually going to get healed up. Very even footing here. We are these two teams, but Gen.G has the ult advantage right now with their heroics. They're going to be able to use Sundering once again to initiate the fight. Rich could use it into a double root. That could be how they engage. Root misses here, unfortunately. It doesn't get much closer than
Jung-ha. I was so scared. Every time he goes in, I just hold my breath, which is not a good casting characteristic, by the way. Rich now looking for a Sundering. Look at that one. It hits onto 3. Ballistix in a terrible spot. They're going to lose their Raider. Their damage is evaporating, but they do get a trade kill right back at you. And actually, this is not the worst position for Ballistix to be in. Tist is half health, but doesn't need or can't stay in the front line for long.
They have an Ancestral, but Hooligan is doing all the tanking here. Reset can't get the damage done he wants to. Hooligan just keeps absorbing the shots. This is not a trade that Gen.G can keep up much longer. They're going to have to back off. They're going to have to tap well. Jung-ha wants to kill into Reset here. It's not enough, though. It's not enough damage. They are going to go up here for the channel. I don't think anyone on the side of Gen.G can realistically interrupt this. Tist looks to consider, but he's too late.
Indeed he is. Great zoning there by SDE. I was a little bit worried. He was kind of walking right beside Tist, and I was like, okay, well, we're just not going to fight each other. But in the end, he zones perfectly well enough. Ballistix take the 4 health lead.
Certainly do. Well, experience could not be closer with Yrel going to the top lane. Essentially, Coach is saying, you know, while this is happening, I'm going to get the small advantage I can in experience while they're all around on the map. Camp here, or Ballistix will actually kill the bell tower and capture it if Gen.G is not here, so they actually have to stick around. It's very unfortunate here for Gen.G.
Man, you know, I know that last fight was super even, and I don't know how deep to go on this analysis, because we might just be starting out another fight here, so Hooligan positions forward. But man, okay, it's gonna... This is like the weirdest we're definitely not fighting fight. Just trying to posture to put more damage on this bell tower, which is just so big for Ballistix to be able to take. As he goes forward, a couple of tethers. Do they latch? Not really. Hooligan dives forward, no overpower. There it is on Tis, not a very high priority target. Will SDE go in? No. Ballistix back out.
Okay, well, they don't actually get the bell tower, and that's what they really wanted. That was the goal of this. They're coming in again for
on to Rich. Hooligan goes forward. Can't get the overpower once again. Reset, taking Jongha's damage, and pushed all the way back out of the fight.
Notice that this is a 5v4. That Ballistix is committing resources of 5 members versus Urel is actually getting waves in both the mid and the top lane right now. So Coach is actually soaking, keeping the experience ahead for Gen.G, while 4 members are able to keep the bell tower up. So small win here for Gen.G. They can actually delay the bot bell tower and look for 2 of these 3 to even up the core health right now. Urel's going to channel left. They are posturing well here on this bottom one. He's going to rotate down faster. Coach got the faster channel, so it does have the faster rotation. Rich, in 12 seconds, has that Sundering. One of the biggest initiation tools they have.
Oh, and just how good it was in that last fight. Just insanity. I can't believe that was an even fight at the end because of just how one-sided it was at the beginning. So if they get an engage like that again, I mean, you kind of just got to hold your breath because you know it's coming. Now Ballistix, oh, look at that VP. It actually catches 2 of Ballistix. Not sure if that was
really what they
necessary.
wanted. Look at the Sundering.
It does separate Ballistix, but they are going to go for the re-engage. SDE does grab Rich, but I think Rich is about to grab right back. Lightning Breath comes through, pushes Sake back. He blows up to Jongha in the back. Reset, though. He's also being zoned away. Jongha just doing so much here for Ballistix. Reset will eventually go down thanks to a nice little root coming his way, and no ult's going to save you now, Kyocha. It's a wipe for
Ballistix. This is going to be easily a bell tower, possibly 2 to get the altar here. They're going to maximize what they get from this moment during these longer respawn timers. We're 16 minutes into the game, so this is bot bell tower, mid bell tower, and this is basically the Dignitas special. Take a win in a fight on this map and make sure you can efficiently maximize the value of that win. What they could do now is take 6 shots from the bottom altar. Look where right now you can see Maiev heading down.
Yep.
That's going to be SDE channeling this for 6 shots. Then they're going to posture around boss. So they're looking for half of Gen.G's remaining core health from this. Posturing around the center, just making sure no one from Gen.G is teleporting from the middle of the map to this, whatever the teleporter's called, I don't know. They're going to take this camp, then try to posture around boss. Even if they don't end up grabbing that boss, they have so much vision control on the map right now, not only from these bell towers, but also from the sapper camps they've just taken.
Yeah, 2 sapper camps, 2 forward bell towers. I guess when you take a bell tower, it's always forward. But the reality is that core health is evaporating for Gen.G. They take that 1 shot from the neutral altar at the bottom. They're going to take potentially even more damage depending if these sappers connect. It looks like maybe they will. You can tell Ballistix are trying to escort them through, but I don't know if Gen.G are going to let them have it that easily.
Well, they're going to have to force a fight if that's going to happen. Tist, nice angle here to stay alive, not getting grabbed there.
Oh, but look at the damage he's taking. He has to pop Avatar before he's even in the front lines. He's retreating, he's backing up, and SC is actually pushing people away, not respecting their ability to engage. Now, Kyocho is looking for it, charges the Avenging Wrath, but I don't think Urel can sustain up here in the front, not damaging Urel through the ult, but there's
Huge
a big Sundering.
Yeah.
Indeed it is. Lightning Breath coming through. Tist is forced to jump away from that. Ballistix are holding the line here.
They used a lot in that fight, though. They need to get out of here fast, so they're going to find themselves in the wrong side of the map here. But they did escort 1 of those pumpkins in. They did get 1 damage done to the core. They are so close to 20. Gen.G takes away the mid bell tower. They're going to look for bottom. Right now, SC wants to defend it. He's going to have to be careful here. But double here, the altars taken for Ballistix means it's just 1 boss away from victory.
Ballistix deny the recap of that bottom bell tower, so they do still have at least the barrage advantage. And we gotta hit a little bit of a pause. I need a breather. I don't blame the players for needing one too. I don't know if it's a thing if you're just like, I just gotta take a break, man. That fight was crazy. But if it is, I don't blame them.
Well, you've cast MOBAs in your career before Heroes of the Storm. You know how it goes when you got a tense game like this with a lot of team fighting. And Heroes of the Storm is one of those games where it's just action all the time, but it's at the highest level here now in this first Towers of Doom game, and Hooligan seems pretty distressed about what is occurring here, but he's got the lead. His team has that core health advantage. They still have the slight bell tower advantage as we head into double altars here. For Gen.G, the key is to trade at least one of these in. Looks like the game is restarting. And it will be a trade that we missed, of course, off camera, but you guys got to see the edge of it. But still, Gen.G on the back foot here. They're going to have to win every single remaining team fight in order to survive.
Yeah, and even though it's a trade, right, it's still in Ballistix' favor because they do hold the bell tower advantage. And yeah, now here we go in again. I mean, if Ballistix just stay here, they seem totally willing to just be entrenched. Now, I guess Jonga's not here, but Ballistix still holding the line.
Yeah, in fact, Jonga's trying to harass Kyocha in the top lane, but Kyocha is going to take that Sapper camp solo. Never, ever, ever can Zeratul win the 1v1, not with Void Prison, and no one takes Narazim, so at least not in this meta.
Very true. So the VPs have looked pretty good. One of the last fight was a little bit off. I don't think it caught anybody from Gen.G and locked up to a Ballistix, so...
Well, now with Kyocha pushing that top, you know, he's going to get the wall. It's going to give them 20. He's going to rotate in. They're going to look for a fight. For Rich, he's going to look for Blink here. Blink can give him the setup he needs to have an amazing Sundering. So close to hitting that here. This wave should do it. There it is. 20's up. Blink locked in. Watch where Rich is standing because he's the one who's going to have the initiation. He's the one who's going to be looking for these fight wins. I don't think any of these will get escorted in, especially with Tis just body blocking here, tanking those shots. But if Ballistix tries to force the issue, they could get team wiped. That would be a disaster. If they do just let it go, they let the Sappers come in and get destroyed. Gen.G can't spend too much time up here, though, on this bell tower.
The engage onto Rich, pushing him forward. Hooligan's so tanky. SD, he's going to be the one to engage. Going in right now. Look at SD. No pressure on this Raider. DPS for days, and he does disengage before he gets blown up by Reset.
Okay, we are still seeing that Sundering available now. The Lightning Breath used super early in the fight does not come up with any picks. He was unstoppable, so Rich didn't look for the Sundering there. But he's still got that Bolt available. John has cleansed early in the fight. Kyocha leading the charge, stuns coming through.
Mostly on the Hooligan, and he doesn't really care. That guy's invincible at this point. SDE zoning off to the back. Tista and Reset cannot get back to SC.
They cannot let this channel go through, but it looks like they're just going to.
I think they're going to give it up. Wow, that's a big hit to take. They realize they're realistically one more volley away from losing this game.
Well, that was just a boss. And I don't know why they were thinking they could go and take the bottom bell tower during this moment. They would literally lose the game if they did that. They're taking a slower rotation up now, which means Ballistix has positional advantage here.
I mean, that feels like they were just kind of rolling over at that point. 3 core health.
Okay, look at this. They're actually
0.
just soloing it with Kyocha. But if anybody dies, the game ends. I think Kyocha has to come up right now. Like, he actually cannot even kill that bell tower. He's too late. He's too late. He needs to leave. Mini Wave's going to take it, but they need to get here now. They're fighting a 4v5 fight. Rich with a Sunder.
I mean,
Hooligan's caught by Wave of Force.
Yeah, honestly, if Hooligan goes down here, that would be so huge, but he is just impossibly tanky.
Tranquility coming up big. Junga's alone here, and he actually might get caught. He's forced away.
Now,
no kills on either side.
I mean, if I trust any Zeratul to deal with himself, it is going to be Junga. So we'll see how well he does on the other side. Most impressed by that healing coming through on to Hooligan. He's almost back up at full health. What is he, Muradin? I don't know.
He practically is with this many souls. He's got such high health regen. He's got a large health pool, and he's got Magi to give him that massive Malfurion heal. Plus the Tranquility that kept him alive earlier.
Oh,
look at that health bar. Like, if you look at his health bar and compare it to Muradin's, like, I need a microscope to see those, unfortunately.
Yeah, the slivers are very, very tiny. Now Hooligan, actually, who's catching who right now, right? He's up in the front. There's the Lightning Breath on to Rich. The pull back in off the tether. Rich does get the Ancestral, so he's going to be able to be resilient up the front line. That's right, a Hooligan actually going in again, this time on to Tis. These fights just never end because it's just such a tanky lineup.
He's about to have Sundering 2 seconds.
Oh, and
Ballistix does not need to commit to fights like this because if they lose it, Gen.G could take the bell towers away and retake this game. If they play it passive, even if Gen.G gets both bell towers 8 shots, even if they did that twice, Ballistix would still be alive in this game. So there's no reason to lose control of the map right now. Just play safe, just play passive.
Oh, SDE going in again. When is he going to pull the trigger? Hooligan, he's up in the front line.
Oh,
there's the VP. Look at that. And a wombo combo to follow up.
That's dead Li Ming.
Yeah, and that's maybe the only advantage that Ballistix needs right now. If they win this fight, they will win the game. With Kyocha popping right there, I feel like this is just going to go from bad to worse for Gen.G, Ballistix. They find one, they find a second, a third goes their way. Rich is going to fall. Tis, the only surviving member thanks to Avatar, and Ballistix will take this first game against Gen.G.
Taking it in flying colors, Magi's the one to send the goodbye across the map. Ballistix already defying expectations here in this first map of our last series of part 1 of HGC Korea. Very much a close early game, but once the bell tower was taken from Ballistix, I said it earlier, we saw a comeback in our first series between Glock and Fleas, but at the top echelon of pro play across all regions, if you're able to take that bottom bell tower, very rarely does the enemy team ever recover at this level of play. Sure, they recovered the bell towers that they lost, but they were never able to control the map. They were always behind in experience, they were always behind in talents, up until 20, where they were able to even that out. Rich tops the damage in the chart with mostly Sunderings, but Reset isn't able to get the resets he was looking for because Hooligan's positioning was so good. He walks away with only 3 deaths, but he tanked 167,000 hero damage here because of his positioning against Li Ming. So Reset never able to get the kills on the backline that he was looking for. SC gets to play a comfort pick here in the Rainer, and I think that Gen.G will have to adapt their draft around DPSs again to prevent this from happening. Didn't think the draft for Ballistix had insane synergy, but it was used well, and Jung-Ah makes a case that Rainer can be meta, he can be a solo laner, and it's one of his best heroes always historically. We haven't seen it in a while because Zeratul was out of the meta for so long, but as he makes a return, so does Jung-Ah on this hero, and Ballistix, they take this first map, they've got the momentum now.
I mean, I am not as well versed at